Hello everyone, welcome to Canteen Cup. My name is Scott. How's everybody today? Today I want to talk about prepper burnout. And I think we all get it from time to time, but I wanted to take a few minutes and discuss how I feel about prepper burnout, because I've been doing the prep thing now for probably pretty close to 50 years. I started this as a teenager, and I'm not quite so young anymore. So, what causes, prepper burnout? And I think part of it is that we get wrapped up into the whole preparedness thing. We're watching multiple news channels where buying bullets, buying guns, buying food, storing water. And the world's going to come to an end. Everybody says, oh, the world's going to come to an end, or we're going to have the rule of law, the world without rule of law, and all we're going to die. And if you don't buy this particular product, you will die. And the pandemic is here. It's a communist plot. The Russians are going to attack, and all this stuff keeps, coming up. And really, what that does for you is it kind of amps up your fight or flight stuff. Your reptile brain starts taking over, and the reptile brain is what causes fight or flight. And when you start getting emotional about some of this stuff, and you start getting amped up, your little reptile brain is saying, okay, so do I need to take over now? Do I need to here, let me start ramping up to get in charge in case something really bad happens, and then I can tell you whether to fight or flight. And that's a whole nother set of hormones and chemicals that dump into your body as you prepare to fight or flight. And the body is not designed to take a continual stream of that. In other words, you can't stay amped up forever, because your body's not designed to take it. This fight or flight response, this amped up, adrenaline type response, is designed to be temporary. It's to get you out of a fix, and then you're supposed to rest. And some people posit that that's what depression does for you. It helps you to relax, or helps your body to get back to its more normal tones. So if we're constantly feeding ourselves these disaster things, these we're gonna die things, after a while your body says, okay, I need a vacation. I need to take a rest. And that's when the burnout comes. You become less responsive to it. You may become lethargic. You may walk away from it altogether. A lot of different things happen, and it happens to everybody. We're not a rock in this preparedness thing. And so when you feel that coming on, when you feel the burnout coming on, what should you do? Some people let it get so bad that they walk away from preparing completely and never go back to it because of the trauma it put on your body. However, like I said, I've been doing this for about 50 years, and I've had my peaks and I've had my valleys. There's been times when I was all gung-ho to get it done, and then there was times when I just really didn't feel like doing anything. And there's a time and place for doing something, and there's a time and place for doing nothing. And when you feel this burnout coming on, when you feel like all is lost, or you feel like you just don't want to do it anymore, that's time to stop and take a break. give yourself a rest. Don't abandon your preparations, but do something else for a while. You know, more than likely, if you're suffering from prepper burnout, you already have plenty of food, you already have plenty of water, you already have plenty of bullets. You know, you probably have a lot of what you really need because you've been working so hard at it to get it ready. And your body says, okay, you've been working hard, but we need to stop and take a rest. So what do? Well, there's a couple things, and I'll kind of list them. And one is just step back from it for a while. You know, don't toss it away, but just take a step back and say, okay, I'm not going to worry about it this week. You know, I've got plenty of food, I've got plenty of water. I can not do something for a week, and then I can pick it up again next week. You know, buying food, buying water, whatever preparations that you're currently making that you can do at a later time. So don't, I said, take a step back, but don't abandon. And take as long as you need. I say a week, I just threw that out there. Take as long as you need to get back into it. If you feel like you still have to do something small. Reorganize a shelf, take a little inventory, but don't give it that full bore effort, because you'll just put yourself right back to where you were before. Another thing you can do is develop a hobby that is not preparedness related. As an example, again, this is, a rather broad stroke. If you're suffering from prepper burnout, don't have, combat arms training as your other hobby, because they're related. And it may not only may it add, but it may drive you deeper into your prepper burnout. And so what I suggest is you take a hobby that's not even prepper related. For you younger guys, play video games, or Dungeons and Dragons, or Warhammer 40K. Go play tennis or golf, or if you are artistically inclined, paint or draw. Something not related to preparedness at all. Take a small vacation and do something not preparedness oriented. Just wipe it from your mind for a week. And then when you're ready to come back, you can slide back into it at your leisure. And then, maybe down the road, if you are just starting this hobby, then down the road, set aside some time each week to do something other than preparedness. And that's really important. That's kind of what I do. I have a little hobby or two that is not preparedness related. I have a hobby or two that is preparedness related. But I make sure I take time each week to work on a hobby that is not preparedness related, that just, kind of totally empties my mind of preparedness thing, even if it's for a couple hours, and that helps me to live longer, so to speak, to not get the burnout as quickly. Another thing you can do is start filtering your news. Really only concern yourself about things that could really affect you. Most things on the other side of the world will not affect you directly. Probably most things on the other side of the country will not affect you directly. And so if they can't affect you directly, don't worry about them. There's no sense in worrying about something that is not going to affect you and something that you can't fix. An example is Hurricane Laura, which is now, pounding the Louisiana coast and inland from there up around Lake Charles or down around Lake Charles. Is that hurricane going to affect me? Well, not today, not tomorrow, maybe not even the day after. We're not gonna feel the effects of the hurricane proper. However, because of the path it may or may not take, we may get rains and maybe some flash flooding, or maybe some flooding. And so that being said, we keep an eye on the weather for the rains that we might get, not worrying about hurricanes and tornadoes in Louisiana, several states away, because that will not directly affect me. It might not even indirectly affect me if the storm tracks further away from us than they planned. So when things are indirectly, or things that can indirectly affect you, you need to take keep a weather eye on them, so to speak. In other words, when you're going through your news sources or your news feeds, just, kind of glance over them. Don't, be aware, kind of like a situational awareness thing. You don't have to do a deep dive. I'm an analyst by trade, amongst other things, and my tendency is to overanalyze things, and when I overanalyze things, it amps me up more than what it should be. So one of the things I have to do is to pull back and say, oh, there's a hurricane in Louisiana, oh, that's bad for the people there, doesn't affect me, so stop reading. Calamities can overload you just as anything else for prepper burnout. I think the same thing even applies to your state news. There's some things in the state that affect you and some things that don't. Make that decision, and if it doesn't really affect you, don't worry about it. There's plenty right around your neighborhood, right around your community, right around your little town that can keep you busy enough without having to worry about something 4 hours away that has no effect on you. So, take that for what it is. In intelligence, we typically talk, or they typically talk, that you have your area of operations, which may be an area, the size of your community or your little town, maybe smaller, maybe just a couple, a mile or two around your house, and that's where you should be, intensely focused. What's going on right there, right now? And then there's your area of interest, which is a broader area. We'll say in this case, maybe your county, or maybe your county and a neighboring county, depending on where you live. And you should be aware of what's going on in that realm, in your area of interest, your AI. And then beyond that, it should really just be kind of like an overview, and so be aware of that. And I think if you kind of practice that, it'll cut down on your you're amping up, you're being revved up, and keeping yourself sane. So I wanted to put that out because I know we all suffer from it. Again, you're going to have peaks, you're going to have valleys. Try to recognize when you're in either state and try to mitigate when you start going down, so that you don't go down too low to where you just walk away from the whole thing, and that does happen. So that's all I got for today, everyone. I want you all to stay safe and stay secure. We'll see you out there.